I mean, here you are, here Jeff is. Both of you are in this server. Both of you have issues with the alt-right. He's talking about how he got rage bullied off the internet. Now here's Wizard
Mhm.
having a conversation with Sharat, both of who, again, were in your server, talking about a war, a crusade. Sandre, again, another person was in the server, a jihad. It makes it sound like it's a hell of a lot more than just simply countering alt-right propaganda on the internet, and it makes it seem like there was,
Mhm.
more. It was vindictive, malicious
It
that
makes it
Rage was
seem.
after.
It
Yeah.
makes it look. It makes it look really bad.
Well,
Is
I
that
mean,
you've?
Waz Lee was the one that said that himself. He said we need to
Mhm.
change the target's name to something else because it's going
Mhm.
to look horrible when people find it.
Do you know what the targets list was? I mean, the accusation was that I was gathering doxes in it. Like,
Well, we
what
will
was?
get into that with the stuff about Coach Red Pill, and also there's speculation too about what was
Well,
it,
no.
Aiden
I'm not
Paladin's.
talking about Kurt Treadwell. I'm talking about the list. Do you know what that was? Did anyone ever tell you what it was? Did you make any statements about? Because I've seen a lot of people claim that it contained docs or other stuff. But
Well, no, in my
have you
in
ever
my in
actually?
my video series, I was very clear. I focused more on the gay ops, which we'll be getting
Mhm.
to, and I focused in the last part on CRP. I
I'm going
avoided
to send you
speaking on
something
Aiden.
quickly.
Yep.
Here you go. This is the hit list, as you like to call it. This is what it is. The so-called hit list.
Okay. All right. Hold on. Let me pause this. I'll play it on stream here. 1 second.
Okay.
It's only a minute and 40 seconds, so it's not too long. Here we go. All right. You're probably not going to be able to hear me playing it, but I'll just tell
That's
you when I
fine.
start it.
That's fine.
All right. So it's a minute 42 seconds. It's a video Kraut linked. I'll start it in three, two, one.
The so-called hit list is an archiving bot that we wrote a script for. What it does is the bot targets the accounts of certain people on Twitter, people who we added into the bot script. What it does is whenever one of these people tweets, it grabs the tweet. It shows us with that speech bubble, for example, if a tweet is a response, with that arrow if it is just a tweet, and it grabs the tweet, it posts in that thread on Discord any images that may have been tweeted out with that tweet, the contents of the tweet in terms of its text, like here and here, and then it creates an archive link and posts the archive link together.
I'm pausing it at 52 seconds. Let me ask you two questions. One, the server we're talking about is the initial server. This looks like a
Mhm.
different server. I
That's the
can,
same thing. We
but
moved it. We
yeah, I
moved
mean,
it from one server to a different one.
yeah, but you can claim that now because there's no, there's nothing left. It's been deleted. It's been wiped.
If you say so, yeah, okay, you can make that claim if you want. I'm telling you what we did was we set up a bot to archive people's tweets and to give us data on the social media behavior on people, how things spread, when people delete how what gets retweeted. It has several purposes. And the
Okay.
intention is for me to make a video on that.
Why wouldn't you have
That's
made a
basically what it was.
Why wouldn't you have made a video like this showing your alt-right uh, persons of interest servers then? If it would clear it up that much, why didn't you do it
But that
initially
would
when the
have
leaks happened?
that would have ruined the program, wouldn't it?
What do you mean the program?
It would have ruined the purpose of the bot.
Well, didn't you just do that now by explaining it to everybody?
Well, the bot has been observing everyone's Twitters for a year now.
Okay, and
It's fulfilled its purpose.
what was the purpose then of observing their Twitters?
The purpose was to figure out how propaganda and how certain messages, etc., spread through the internet, how messages are spread across, how people behave on social media, if there are specific media tactics or propaganda tactics. Also, initially, I have to admit the intention was to prevent people from deleting tweets because we saw a couple of people making some nasty tweets and then deleting them before we could screen cap them. But then when we worked on it further, we figured this could be ideally used to observe social media behavior and make a video about that with that data.
Okay, but you have no records of the initial server. This is again the newer
No,
server.
I don't have it anymore.
Okay, so this is a completely different thing then
Mhm.
than what we're talking about.
I moved the thing that we were doing in that list over to that server. It is still the same thing that we did. That is what we did.
Well, that's your claim that it's the same thing. Yes.
Yes, it's my claim. If you don't believe it, so be it.
Okay. All right. Let me pull up. Where were we here? All right. So we had the Rage After Storm incident.
Hmm.
With the timing, we had Jeff's statements after that. We had the Wizard of Cause conversation with Sandre. All of these were people that were in the server that make it seem like it was more than simply countering alt-right propaganda. Again, using phrases like war, jihad, and crusade. Let's move into the Discord ops, and let's talk about when that started. Now, that was, I believe, or at least it started coming into prominence with the videos, so late August. Would you say that's
Oh, it
fair?
started. Depends which one. We did two. Well, I did one. The other one was done by Sabi. Mine started in late August, yeah. Ended in November,
Wait, I'm
and his
confused.
started in October.
You said that all the servers were run by you, this one and the
Hmm.
one before it, but now you're saying Sabby had their own?
No, Sabi ran one of them. The macro thing, the idea of creating a fake server, that was his idea.
Yeah, and we'll get to that. We'll get to Red
Hmm.
Mackerel in a moment here. One of the interesting things I noticed is there was a focus on CRP, and I mean, we'll get to the main bulk of CRP stuff later, but I did notice this going back. It seems to me like I guess main activity within the Discord and the video series and all of that started really gearing up in late August. And when I went back and looked at Coach Red Pill's videos on you specifically, and I
Hmm.
timed that with when the Rage After Storm stuff got brought up again. His videos hit on July 26th, July 27th, and his third follow up was near the end of August. Now, it would seem like, did he? I mean, is Coach Red Pill the one that pissed you off enough to go through all of this?
No, I didn't even know really who Coach Redpill was until a few weeks after he made those videos. Like the server existed way before Coach Redpill came onto my radar. The idea of the server even existed for quite a long time. So, nah.
How long was the idea of the server planned for?
Like I told you, since April 2017, that's when the first time a few people got together and talked about making videos on the alt-right, how we would organize that, etc., etc. And then I decided to make a server. The first one, which got deleted because nothing got done, there was a 1 month break, and then I made the other server, the
So,
one where the entire drama is around.
okay, and the initial server, was it structured like the second server, the one that everybody's most familiar with? I mean, were there people
No,
of interest in the alt-right that you were looking at? What was going on in the first server?
the first server was a complete chaos because it only had one text chat. I gave everyone who joined admin rights. Everyone kept making new threads. Everyone just it just ended up a complete chaos. So I deleted it.
Okay. So, and this was, I think, the focus of my third video was really the Discord itself, or the second video.
Hmm.
The third video was Kilroy, I believe. Um, when we get into like gay ops, when people are talking about that, and a lot of this comes from, I mean, you mentioned Zabby. Zabby is one of them. When you look at something like Red Mackerel and Mincemeat, and again, I think this kind of goes back to when people are looking at Jeff Holliday's behavior and your behavior and the events that surrounded Rage After.
I am not responsible for Jeff Holiday's behavior. Like he can say jihad, war, and whatever he wants, but it's not representative of my behavior. What he does.
Well, you two are working in concert within this Discord. I mean, to say that you're
I
not associated with his actions is
I
foolish.
barely talk to him anymore at all at this
Yeah, but
point.
we're talking about at the time you were talking to him, and
Hmm.
we've heard the Skype conversations. Zeph leaked those on SoundCloud.
But he had like the Rage After Storm thing, the live stream that he went on had nothing to do with that server.
The second
That's
server,
just
but
something that
you said the first server was up and running in April.
yeah, the first server was already gone by the time the Rage After Storm thing
Was
happened.
Jeff
It was already
Holiday involved in
deleted.
the first server?
I don't think he was even in it. It was me, Sandra, three other people. I have to be honest, I don't even exactly know who was in it. It was just a couple of people, smaller YouTubers, people ranging in the 10K, 20K subscriber range.
Okay. All right. Well, and again, going along with this, when we're talking about gay ops, you've got Zabby who's
Mhm.
talking about Red Mackerel, which is feeding false information to try to make, I guess, your opponents, your opposition look foolish. At least that's
No,
how it felt outlined
that
to me
that
when I'm
was
reading it.
mine. That was mine. That was mine.
Okay, well, Zabby's the one that people saw posted. I mean, that could be yours. That's fine. I know you
Uh,
talked about Tilly
yeah,
Law backpacking
yeah,
across
that was
Europe,
mine. Exactly, that was mine.
the gayest of gay ops. Okay, and Zabby
Exactly.
also spoke of Mincemeat, which was the idea of suckering in a larger YouTube to
No,
attack the
no,
alt right.
no, 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 no. Mincemeat was the gay op, the one with Tilly Law and the feeding of false information. Zabby's was macro. Zabby's was making a fake server in case leaks happen with faked conversations, faked research, faked accounts, faked everything. So if any leaks were to happen, because he thought there would be leaks at some point, the leaks would be nonsensical.
Okay, well, I mean, I can bring up the
We decided
video
to kick.
because there's a screenshot
Mhm.
of Zabby talking about mincemeats and
I
showing
know, I
the
know, I
diagram.
know, I know. There is a screen cap of Sappy talking about mincemeat. That is simply a typo. He was talking about red mackerel. Mincemeat is completely on me. It has nothing to do with Sabby.
Okay, well, I want to show this so people understand what I'm talking about. This is up on
Sure
screen.
thing.
This was the Operation Mincemeat setup, execution. It basically says people who are feeding us info about Edgy are unknown to us and are constantly changing names. They don't buy it, they buy it. And basically, it works through a premise of total panic about Thunderfoot, DeFranco, Sargon, and infighting accusations between the alt-right party. Sargon and Thunderfoot begin to make videos.
And who's writing that?
This was posted by Zabby. This was Operation Mincemeat. It talks about the setup.
I have no idea what that is. Like, that just sounds. Okay. Well, I'm pretty sure he will have an explanation for that. But
Well, you understand how
I
weird
don't know
this
what that
looks
is.
when we get.
I understand that it looks really weird. I'm confused by this as you are describing it to me.
Okay, because this was in the initial video, and it lines up with what ended up happening. Coach Red Pill's information is on your server. That ends up in the hands of the Guardian, who passes it
Coach
off.
Redpill's information was
Hold on.
never on that
Let me.
server.
Is on your server. It ends up in the hands of the Guardian. The Guardian hands it to King of Pole. It goes on to Kiwi Farms. And then who uses the information that's now publicly available on Kiwi Farms to make a video about Coach Red Pill? Sargon does. And that lines up pretty damn well with Operation Mincemeat, doesn't it?
But that's not how it happened.
That's exactly how it happened. I have the timeline of the exact events of how it happened.
That's how you interpret it happening, but that's not how the Coach Redpill's information was never on that Discord server.
On November 3rd, you said excitedly to Zeph in your Discord, "I have CRP's real name." On November
That's in a
4th
DM.
On November 4th, Jeff Holiday tweets out to CRP, "We'll see how harmless I am soon, Gus." Following that, on a live stream with Worski, when asked about this, Jeff Holiday came out and said, "Yeah, I meant to infer that I know who he was and he should be careful." Then, a
Yeah.
week or so later, on November 18th, the information is posted on Kiwi Farms. So we see you have the information. Jeff is bragging about it the very next day. A week and a half later, that information is now publicly available. And then following that, Sargon puts out a video. And it follows in line with Operation Mincemeat of trying to use a bigger YouTuber, feeding them bullshit, getting them scared, making them think there's a war or some weird shit going on, and then having them out and go do a video against somebody you dislike or you have an issue with.
Coach Redpill's information was never on that server. The thing you're referencing with Zeph is a private message that I sent to Zeph. Someone linked me a Coach Redpill video. That was the first time I watched a Coach Redpill video. It was something about Austrian economics, and it didn't make any sense. It was just pure gibberish. I Googled the company at the end of the video because he ends all his videos with the copyright of a company. I got the billing for the company by the City of London, which showed that it was obviously a fake company, a shell company. It didn't really exist. It didn't make any business. I found his name there. I Googled his name, and the first thing I found was the fraud that he did with the economist Stephen Keen. And I got really excited when I read that. Wanted to make a video on it, wanted to expose it. And the first thing I did, which was retrospectively stupid, I ran around to almost every single big YouTuber I knew and showed them that.
Well,
I
now,
went to Zeph.
when we're talking about talking to people about this information, how did Holiday have it the very next day after you had
Because I
excitedly
showed it to him.
But
Because I showed it to him that day.
You told me that you guys weren't really working in concert at this point. That he was just kind of like an
I
ephemeral
told you right
figure.
now. I told you right now. I went to almost every YouTuber. I went to a shit ton of people and showed them this.
It just is a coincidence then
At least
that both Zeph
12,
and
13,
Jeff are in
14,
that server
15
with you.
people.
But so it's just a
Yeah, that's
coincidence
just a coincidence
that they're
because
both in
it
the
could have
alt
just
right
as well
server
been.
with you.
Yeah, it could have just as been well. It could have just as well been someone of the other 15 or so people who I showed this to who could have made this public.
Crowd, come on, man.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You don't see when people are looking at this situation, right?
I know it looks bad, but
It
just
looks
because
bad
it looks
because
bad, it
it
doesn't
looks
mean
bad
that it
because
has
it
to be
is
that
bad.
way.
It looks bad because it is bad. You
But
tried to
does that
get
mean that it have to be that way?
you tried to get
Does it mean
Rage
that that sequence of events is like
Crowd.
that?
You tried to get Rage deplatformed. Jeff talked about how he bullied her, and once again later on, here we are. This is after Coach Red Pill has made videos basically saying
So we're
that
going back to rage now.
I'm establishing a common theme of actions. You've
Of
got you
actions.
two acting together, basically doing the same thing. You're on a stream together talking about how Rage is shit. You're trying to get her deplatformed. Jeff is talking about how he bullied her
Well, I didn't
off the
say
internet.
that Rage was shit on that stream. I mainly talked about the points that she made in the video. I was the calmest on that stream.
You weren't calm.
I had
You
no.
weren't calm. A few days later when you're
I
trying to get
wasn't
her
calm
thrown
the few
off
days. Yeah, I
Kipper.
spurged on Twitter.
Right.
I spurg. I have a tendency to spurg.
And then there's Jeff saying you bullied her off of the internet. And now here we have with the
That's what
CRP
he
thing.
said about
Here
himself.
we have with the CRP thing, where you're excitedly sharing the information, and it's just a coincidence that once again, here's Jeff Holiday, again, another person in your server. I mean, this is all coming from people in your server. Sandre, um, Holiday, yourself. Like all these people are involved in this, and that's just a wild coincidence. It just looks bad, but isn't bad.
Well, the reason it got out in the end was because I showed it to the Guardian 001. Don't know if you know him. And you know the gerbil Twitter account?
Yeah, I know who the Guardian is. He ran away. He was the one
Yeah.
that him and Edgy Sphinx were the ones that basically put the majority of this shit out on Twitter.
And he told me that he would get you to make a video on this if I gave it to him. And he took it and he
How'd
sent
that
me a
work out?
screen cap.
How'd that work
That
out?
didn't work out too well.
Yeah.
That didn't work out too well. He posted it in a DM group with you and King of Pool, and what happened is that King of Pool took it and posted it on Kiwi Farms. I guess that's at least how I see the lines of events.
Mm-hmm.